Young and ambitious, Laura Palmer works in the film industry. She has to listen to countless ridiculous script ideas about Earth's overpopulation or sentient plants. Yet she always tries to leave writers with a good impression, praising their ideas and promising to call them back. One day, her husband visits her. For months now, they have been trying to finalize their divorce amicably. Tony tells their story as if it were a script, something he used to write. But for years, he has suffered from depression and has been unable to sell a single idea. Laura reminds him about his alcoholism, a subject Tony strangely refuses to discuss. He, however, cannot forget their past love and hopes to repair their marriage, especially since their daughter Anna is suffering from their ongoing war. But Laura refuses to return to that routine. She is a rising star receiving lucrative new contracts. Before leaving, her husband reminds her that it's their daughter's birthday. Laura has to pretend she remembered. As soon as Tony leaves, she immediately asks her assistant, Christian, to order a cake for Anna. Just then, she is approached by a competitor who announces that billionaire Snell Sr.'s private jet has arrived. That means he has chosen someone to become a shareholder in his new project, and the competitor believes it will be her. Laura rushes to the reception, where she runs into Snell's son, Sebastian, who mockingly comments on her lucky watch, the one she only wears on rare special occasions. She wants to know whom the plane has come for, as she had planned to fly to Barcelona to see her daughter. But Sebastian avoids the subject, instead talking about the unexpected death of one of the world's richest men. Eventually, he admits that his father has chosen Laura's competitor, so she is free to focus on other matters. Laura must pretend not to be upset. She congratulates her rival on the success and briefly summarizes the plot of the film she is about to present. In the end, the woman embarrasses herself in front of a swarm of journalists on live television, while Laura leaves the presentation satisfied with her revenge. On the way home, Tony calls her, puzzled by the sudden frenzy for tickets, as if everyone urgently needed to travel somewhere. But Christian interrupts her with shocking news. Following the deaths of two oligarchs, the Pope has suddenly passed away as well. Just then, Laura receives an invitation to board Snell Sr.'s jet, which is flying to Alaska. On board, she is accompanied by the wealthy man, who is also disturbed by the unexplained deaths. Deaths that have, in just one day, propelled him up the Forbes rankings. While talking to him, Laura is struck by the unnatural shine of his teeth. Later, both of them call Anna at the same time to wish her a happy birthday, but the girl avoids the screen. Tony asks Laura to let him have some time alone with their daughter, to which she responds with legal threats. Soon, the plane lands in snowy Alaska. Laura is met by Snell's assistant, who hands her fur clothing. She will have to travel the rest of the way by dog sled. During the journey, her guide explains that she will be in charge of one of Snell's divisions, a role that will greatly increase her wealth. Laura is brought to a settlement where Snell himself greets the new arrivals. He speaks about Alaska's first settlers, in whose honor he built this camp, to remind people of the pioneers who built their fortune with their own hands. He is firmly against laziness and weakness, disregarding slogans about equality and diversity. He believes only the wealthy drive the world forward by building industries. That is why he invited future shareholders here, to remind them that gold belongs to those who dare to face the cold and strike their pickaxes into the frozen ground. One of the prospective shareholders, Mr. I, is skeptical. After all, the new project lacks financial backing, but Snell immediately transfers company shares to their assets. Later, Snell Sr. speaks privately with Laura. He has heard much about her but has never met her in person. They discuss children, and Laura admits that she does not understand her daughter either. Snell assigns her to participate in an auction taking place in London at the Royal Estate. Her task is to bid the highest amounts to make a spectacle and generate excitement around the new project. The next morning, Laura returns to London. Mr. I is on the flight with her and confesses that he has been sent to Sicily to inspect refugee camps. He speaks disdainfully of those fleeing their countries. Laura tries to contact her daughter, but Tony informs her that Anna stayed over at a friend's house. So Laura opens a news portal, only to discover that the world is in chaos. A strange epidemic is spreading everywhere. One by one, the richest and most powerful people on the planet are dying, and no one can explain why. At the airport, Christian greets Laura, and she suddenly asks him a strange question, whether she is truly rich. She convinces herself that, for now, she is still only on a mid-level rung of the ladder. They arrive at the auction, and at the right moment, Laura announces an outrageously high bid for one of the lots, presented by a member of the royal family in attendance. Unexpectedly, Anna calls her, and Laura has to step out of the hall. Just then, she hears screams. The man who had just won a painting for $2 million collapses and dies on the spot. Chaos erupts worldwide. People are now certain that a mysterious flu is exclusively targeting the wealthiest citizens. The economy spirals into collapse as the elites scramble to get rid of their assets. The disease, resembling a virus, seems to infect only the upper class. Laura starts to worry. Suddenly, her mother calls from Spain, informing her that Anna is staying with her since neither Laura nor Tony can resolve their issues. Laura resents her mother's interference, but the woman hangs up. Determined, Laura decides to fly to Barcelona. Before leaving, she meets with Snail Jr., who is furious about her rapid rise. His father hadn't even asked what his plans were for Laura. Now she is wealthy and can buy herself new watches. Meanwhile, his father had poured all his fortune into charity, but Sebastian had prepared in advance. He had secured his financial independence. He sneers at his father's decisions, while Laura suddenly notices the eerie, dazzling shine of his teeth. Later, Christian informs her that a state of emergency has been declared, making it extremely difficult to leave for Spain. She orders him to find a ticket on any available transport. The more expensive, the better. Meanwhile, she drives home through streets consumed by unrest. On the way, she calls her business partner from Snail's enterprise. He informs her that she has become significantly richer, but the only way to spend her money is by transferring assets to someone else, if she can even find someone willing to take them. At home, Laura gathers all her valuables, realizing that money no longer holds value. Suddenly, soldiers arrive at her door, offering to place her under protection. She pretends to agree, but escapes down the fire escape, heading straight to the airport, where Christian meets her with a ticket for a cargo flight. Before departure, she unexpectedly hands Christian some documents, explaining that due to her divorce, she needs to transfer her assets to someone else, and offers him the opportunity to sign. Christian understands the true implication of her gesture and walks away. The plane takes off. During the flight, the passengers, anxious and uncomfortable, begin to argue. When an elderly woman notices the glow of another passenger's teeth, she attacks him. In the struggle, they accidentally open the aircraft door and both fall out into the sky. Finally, the plane lands in Spain, now engulfed in chaos. Tony meets Laura and drives her to her mother's village. Along the way, they encounter a checkpoint where officers inspect travelers for signs of infection and any valuable possessions. Laura worries about her bag full of jewelry, but before they can be searched, a truck crashes into a police vehicle, causing a distraction. Seizing the moment, the couple escapes. Horrifying news floods in. People are hunting down the wealthy, killing them, and destroying their property. Everything is burning, exploding. Governments have collapsed. At last, Tony and Laura arrive at their destination. Marta greets them, though Laura is visibly displeased by her meddling. Her mother is astonished at her blindness. The world is crumbling. Her wealthy associates are dying en masse, despite their belief that money would protect them from everything. Yet Laura still refuses to accept that life as she knew it is over. Laura stays, though the villagers eye her with suspicion. One of her former friends notices her watch and reminds her that she bought it with her first paycheck as a waitress. Meanwhile, a neighbor suggests a theory that the virus is moving down the social hierarchy. He wonders aloud when Laura's turn will come. That night, Laura confesses to Tony just how rich she is and tells him that she had been ready to hand over all her assets to Christian. She fears that she is already infected and wants to leave. But before she can act, a furious mob gathers outside, demanding that the filthy rich woman leave, taking her contagious family with her. Laura begs them to spare Anna and Marta, but no one listens. Then a friend of Laura's offers them his boat. The family quickly boards and sails away into the night. Marta suggests heading to Tanzania, where she has a friend living in the mountains. He might take them in for a while. Though it is an incredibly long journey, they have no other choice. They set course for Africa, sailing peacefully for several days. But one night, a storm breaks out. Through the roaring rain, they hear cries for help and rescue a young black woman who has spent 6 days adrift at sea. The moment she regains consciousness, a blinding light floods the boat, a military searchlight. A patrol boat from the Coast Guard intercepts them. The soldiers behave aggressively, roughly inspecting everyone on board. Declaring that Libya is refusing to accept refugees, they order them to follow. In the morning, the people are brought to the shore and ordered to jump overboard and swim the rest of the way. The family and the rescued girl make it to the beach, where they find a memorial dedicated to all the refugees who lost their lives. A plaque informs them that they have arrived on the island of Lampedusa. Not far away, a refugee camp has been set up, and they head toward it. But at the entrance, a checkpoint divides them into Europeans and people from the African continent. Marta tries to prove that the black girl is their friend, but she is told that, in fact, she is in a better position than the white newcomers. Later, they learn that all connections to Europe have been severed. Laura tries to remind them of her many charitable donations, but now that holds no value. There is no food here, nor even the most basic medicine. The family enters the camp, where they are recognized by the girl they saved. Now she helps them find a little food and water among her people. Unexpectedly, Laura runs into Mr. I. He tells her that while poor countries are somehow surviving, Europe is burning. He advises her to find shelter and not to step outside until dawn. He bids her farewell, and as he removes his mask, Laura sees his teeth, gleaming unnaturally. The family finds a remote tent and hides inside for the night. Laura apologizes to her husband, but suddenly notices that he is silent. She asks him to open his mouth and realizes that he has signed her contract, transferring all her wealth to himself. They walk down to the shore where Laura berates Tony, but he insists that this is exactly why she showed him the documents. No matter how much she argues, he is convinced that it was always her plan. He asks her to take care of their daughter. Just then, they hear Anna screaming from the tent. The couple rushes back to find two men trying to drag the girl away. A fight erupts. Tony wrestles one attacker while Laura grabs a stone and bludgeons the other to death. Her daughter and husband watch in horror as she finishes off the second man. At dawn, the survivors escape by boat, but as they near the African coast at night, a patrol vessel rams and sinks them. Laura surfaces, searching desperately for Anna, but finds only darkness before losing consciousness. She later washes ashore, where locals reject refugees. Fleeing, she takes shelter with an elderly woman who gives her clothes. Disguised, Laura returns to the shore and finds a truck of rescued survivors, Anna among them, but Tony drowned at sea and Marta died from her wounds. Taken to a refugee settlement, they are welcomed with food, water, and shelter. In the morning, newcomers offer up their belongings. Communal items are shared, while personal possessions are placed in a pool, available for anyone to borrow for a day. Laura parts with her watch. Life becomes simple, centered on labor, farming, building, and daily redistribution of resources. One evening, Laura, now collecting and polishing seashells, approaches the woman wearing her watch. She offers a trade, but when the woman reaches for the entire handful, Laura clenches her fist, smiling. The woman hesitates, staring at Laura's teeth, beginning to glow. A film with a powerful concept but an unfulfilled potential, reminding us of the fragility of societal structures and how the boundaries between rich and poor can vanish if the rules of the game are changed. But will human nature ever change?